Welcome to Zoom In, Zoom Out, your global look at news from Taiwan. I'm Irene Lin. Taiwan and the Philippines have made a mutual gesture to allow for 14-day visa-free entry for both of its nationals. This is the first time the Philippines has waived the visa requirement for Taiwanese nationals on short visits, and the 8th year Taiwan has offered the same benefit for Philippine passport holders. Under Taiwan's new southbound policy, the two sides have forged deep partnerships in manufacturing investments and personnel training for disaster response, healthcare, agriculture, as well as cultural exchanges. Today, to discuss the potential effects of this relaxation on travel rule, we're honored to be joined by Chair Cheloy Garafil of the Manila Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei. She most recently served as the Secretary of the Philippine Presidential Communications Office and has been representing the Philippines in Taipei since 2024. Chair Cheloy Garafil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here, to be invited.
So actually last year, there were more visitors from the Philippines than any other Southeast Asian countries to Taiwan. And I wonder, what's the appeal of Taiwan to these Filipino travelers?
Yeah, basically, Filipinos love to travel. But I think the appeal of Taiwan to Filipinos is probably the proximity, because it's just less than 2 hours away from Manila. And then, of course, you have very reasonable rates. You have a very peaceful atmosphere here. We feel safe, we feel secure. And you have very nice tourist spots that I wanted to see for myself. So that may be the appeal for many of our Filipino tourists.
I wonder how's Taiwan's image in the Philippines, and how do they view Taiwan?
Well, it's just now that Filipinos have started to see Taiwan in a different light. Before you implemented the no visa policy for Filipinos, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's on our radar. So when you implemented the no visa policy, that's when Filipinos started to consider Taiwan, and now we've seen that Filipinos have become the #1 source of tourists for Taiwan. So based on experiences that Filipinos have had in going here, all of them have said very, very nice things that happened for them in Taiwan.
I know you've been following pop music right now, but there was the boy band called SB19 that just came to Taiwan, had their first concert.
It's a pity that I've not been to their show, but I've heard that they did have a very successful show here in Taiwan just recently. And it's not only that, we've been seeing a lot of artists coming here to Taiwan for exhibits. Some of our artists, painters, did several exhibits, and then we have also some sort of exchange for our basketball players. I think they've been recruited to some of your very popular basketball teams here. And of course, we have also our dancers, our choral groups who are competing in various contests here. So there have been lots of cultural exchanges, and many more are coming.
You mentioned earlier that you're kind of a movie fan yourself. Was that your most memorable film from these other Filipino?
I don't know if you've seen one of a featured film that was recently shown in the Southbound Festival. I think it was last week. Another movie that was featured is a Filipino film called Sunshine. It has a very controversial topic, but I hope that it has never been shown in the Philippines, but I hope that people will still patronize it despite its topic. But I hope people will watch it.
So it's been fun talking about films and these other cultural exchanges, and actually since July 1st, it's been easier for Filipino nationals and Taiwanese nationals to travel to both countries. What do you make of this visa relaxation, the timing, and the 14-day condition?
Yeah, it's been one of the major asks of people of Taiwan. Since I came into office, many of your officials have asked me about, when will you give us a reciprocal no visa policy for Taiwanese nationals going to the Philippines? And it's something that's been in negotiations for some time now. And we're just glad that it's been implemented, it's been given the green light, and it shows really the openness of our government to really promote and strengthen our people-to-people ties. And of course, it will facilitate entry of Taiwanese and also facilitate trade and investment also and other cultural exchanges.
I want to transition to talk about the official visits from the Philippines. And so back in April, the Philippine government actually relaxed this restriction to allow for Philippine officials to come to Taiwan under their ordinary passports in official visits. So do you see an interest from more Philippine officials to come to Taiwan in the future?
The circular that you're talking about is Memorandum Circular number 82, which just clarified an existing rule with respect to visits of our officials to Taiwan. In the past, there was confusion on these official trips that were taken by officials. So this MC82 just clarified that, and it actually opened up the trips of or the visits of our officials in order for them to attend to cooperation, possible partnerships with their counterparts here in Taiwan. So since that memorandum circular was issued, there have been really visits from our officials to Taiwan to discuss some of the existing proposals and collaborations with their counterparts here. And vice versa, I think, because a lot of your officials also have expressed their interest into coming to the Philippines to explore some of these collaborations.
So a lot of these Filipino migrant workers, they work in manufacturing in Taiwan, and these Taiwanese manufacturers, they rely pretty heavily on them. But unfortunately, there have been reports of these Filipino migrant workers staying in Taiwan after their legal status expires. Is there any cooperation with authorities here to address this?
The one in charge of migrant workers here is the Department of Migrant Workers, which is also housed here in Meco. We have our labor attaché who is doing all the liaising and coordination with the Ministry of Labor. And of course, in all areas of cooperation here in Taiwan, there have been reports of, challenges and concerns coming from our migrant workers. But I would say that, compared to other countries, migrant workers here are treated more fairly and are given more rights and more privileges than their counterparts in other countries. You have minimum wage, which is higher than other countries. You have a very efficient health insurance coverage. And I think the labor standards are being implemented well in general here in Taiwan. And we make sure that those are implemented. Our labor attachés and the Migrant Workers Office and our welfare officers conduct regular visits to their workplaces, to their dormitories. They go there almost every week. So they conduct visitations, regular visitations, to make sure that all those that are included in their contract are observed and implemented.
The police authorities here have found that some of these migrant workers, after their status has expired, they decided to stay in Taiwan. And could you talk a bit about what are the reasons that would prompt them to stay in Taiwan?
Because employment here in Taiwan is limited to just maximum of 14 years. And of course, if you're still, and they come here very young, some of them come here in their 20s, so if the 14-year period expires, they're still at the prime of their life. So just what I've told you, many of the Filipinos here who are working here enjoy working here, so they would, of course, want to stay on, but are really limited with the restrictions of the employment. Some of them get sick, so they have to stay longer. Some of them would experience some problems with their employer, so they would run away or they would be asked to leave. But of course, they would want to stay on and earn for the family. So that's the challenging part. But I think the number of illegal workers here is quite limited. We only have around 2,000 migrant workers here who are undocumented. So we're closely monitoring them, and of course, at the first instance that we are able to track them, we encourage them to go back home and take care of their family.
So it's not just migrant workers that are coming to Taiwan, but also I heard some of the firefighters, disaster first responders are coming to Taiwan for training. What do you expect coming out of these cooperations in terms of disaster response training?
Yeah, I've met them last week when on their last day of training. I think they were here for a few days, and it's part of the existing cooperation that we have with your firefighting academy. It's been a very helpful program that they've been having for the past, I think, several years now, and yeah, I think we will have to renew the MOU because I think it has expired already. So it's been a very helpful program for our firefighters, especially for the Philippines, and not only for fire incidents but disaster resilience. And it's something that we will pursue so that we can increase the number of trainings or increase the number of participants to that program.
And a lot of students are also coming to Taiwan from the Philippines. Is there any reasons that would propel them to choose to pursue their educations in Taiwan?
Well, Taiwan has been very aggressive of late in attracting students from the Philippines, and not only from the Philippines but also in other parts of Asia. So we're just very lucky that we are being considered as one of the top sources of students who can study here and do some part-time work also while studying. I think part of your talent development program, of course, we will encourage our students from the Philippines to consider Taiwan as an option for them to pursue higher education.
Are there any other new areas for collaboration that you want to see more in the future?
Oh, I think our thrust now in MECO is to really attract investors to the Philippines. We believe that we are your closest neighbor, so it makes sense that you put in some of your investments or some of your business to the Philippines as maybe some form of a backup office, in considering all the geopolitical circumstances that we are in right now. So that's one of the major areas that we are working very hard with our Department of Trade and Industry here, is to convince big Taiwanese businessmen to relocate or to at least expand their business in the Philippines.
As a conclusion of our conversation, how would you summarize your journey as the chair of MECO so far?
Wow.
In one sentence.
One sentence. It's been exhilarating and inspiring, because now I see that I can do so many things for the Philippines, and I see Taiwan as a way of making things better for the Filipinos. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Chair Garafil, for joining us. It's been an inspiring talk that we had on this episode.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
Thank you, Chair Garafil, for joining us on today's episode. It's been a really insightful one. Thank you for watching this episode of Zoom In, Zoom Out. If you liked today's conversation, please don't forget to subscribe, like, or leave a comment. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.